So it's the last day in the Johnny Depp versus the Sun libel trial, and she knows it's all over. See, Johnny Depp's team, they came in like a sledgehammer today, tearing away narratives, asking about truth, and she doesn't have that much to offer. That's put her in damage control. You can see that, too, and quite profoundly in the spectacle outside of the courtroom. See, every other day, she hasn't had time to stop and talk to anyone. But after Johnny Depp's team demolished them today, oh yeah, she needs to thank her legal team, an outpouring of support, and the police. The police. Now that's fascinating, considering just yesterday, those were the very people being thrown under the bus. Quote, the police have exaggerated the length of their attendance because of the negligent way in which they dealt with an allegations of DV, but that's pretty much in a nutshell. Throw out allegations, see if they stick, and do damage control after the fact. The problem for is this, though. All of the positive press in the world, it doesn't stop the truth from coming out, and we're going to look at all of the truth that utterly demolished her narratives today. So hey there, now before we get started on this doling out justice, let me mention our comic book. It's in demand right now, meaning you can still pick it up. Link is in the description, and because we talk about stuff like this, because we believe in due process and we believe that industry should treat you right, we're apparently the bad guys, and some industry-connected people, they just want to do harm. But that's okay. We don't need these weirdos. We need you. So check that out, and thank you in advance. So today's closing arguments for Johnny Depp's team, and isn't it fascinating that this is the headline for Sky News right now, doing damage control for Why are they doing damage control for you might ask? Because the truth, it hits like a bombshell. Here, for example, Johnny Depp's team asks, in all the years of all of this stuff happening that alleges, where's the secret recording of Mr. Depp knocking 7 bells out of her? Nowhere is the answer. Even during what has described as a quote-unquote 3-day hostage situation in Australia in 2015, there is nothing. There's not even a photograph of the quote-unquote horrific things that were done. She says she suffered. Mr. Shearborn tells the court. The problem for is she knows full well that there was nothing to record. See, we know that from 2013 to 2016, was trying to document something that Johnny Depp could be blamed with, and yet she only produced one piece of footage in 4 years. Quote, portraying Depp as controlling and intimidating is essential to AH's narrative, but is a myth, Mr. Shearborn tells the court. There is only one piece of footage from the 4-year relationship which claims was littered with volatility. The barrister tells the court that the defendants have presented. It is a video of Depp slamming cupboards, which has been shown in court several times. There is an argument over whether the footage was recorded in 2013 or 2016, but he notes that doesn't matter. What does matter is that it does not show Depp being volatile toward Mr. Shearborn, he even makes jokes about this in the trial, saying that Johnny Depp, he's the kitchen cupboard beater rather than the other type of beater that was associated with his name. In fact, what the footage shows, he says, is that Depp would rather take anger out on an inanimate object rather than someone that he loved. Now, what's fascinating about that video is the way that it's been utilized in the past versus the reality of what it projects, at least according to Johnny Depp's team. See, today they showed the footage again, but Mr. Shearborn, he left it running longer this time. Why? Because this time, Mr. Shearborn asks it to concentrate on trying to keep the phone hidden from Mr. Depp. Not what's going on, but on her and her actions. He notes, as her laugh that you can make out demonstrates, she's not scared at all. And yes, indeed, she is laughing there. It's not a nervous laugh. It's more like she's playing a game. And that game, of course, is taking out Johnny Depp's reputation. Now, a solid point that they go after is the credibility of with Mr. Shearborn telling the judge that AH's credibility as a witness, or the lack of it, that is the key to the case. He says that Depp's legal team's position is clear, that from the big points to the smaller points, A.H. is proven to be wholly unreliable witness and a compulsive liar, and says he does not say that lightly. She has lied about the incidents, tailored her stories to meet the evidence, and has changed dates. Now, Mr. Shearborn adds something to that, and I think that this is a solid point to bring up. You had A.H. create a brand new incident for this case that she has never discussed since 2016. See, she's created 13 other incidents before, each one getting progressively worse than the others, but this one, it was so bad that you couldn't discuss it in open court. Quote, the judge asks if Mr. Shearborn is okay to discuss this in open court, and he says he is, aka I'm not going to talk about all of the claims in it. See, parts of that evidence, they had been heard in private, with the press and the public briefly excluded from the proceedings, because she hopes in private she can sway the judge. Because, I went through all of this. Don't you believe me? Look at my tears. Now, Mr. Shearborn, he doesn't go into details about that allegation, but he says that it was added to bolster the defense's case, and I firmly agree with that. Now, we know about all of the incidents, too, and they tear them down, and they tear them down well, but there was something else that was brought up about credibility that I thought was really fascinating. So they bring up the breakup in 2016. Mr. Shearborn has moved on to the court appearance by A.H. after her breakup with Depp, where she files for an R.O., to which he says she had no obligation to turn up. She didn't have to be at court at all. She didn't have to make that appearance unless she wanted publicity. Now, the R.O., it ends up extended from June 2016 to August 2016, and during that time, July 22nd, 2016, there was a meeting between A.H. and Depp. She wanted that meeting. She requested it despite having the R.O. Now, during that, in San Francisco, A.H. wanted to hug Depp. Now, Depp, he talked about this, too. He said there was a lot of discussion about various things going on. At times, it, of course, got emotional. He said he had refused her request for a hug. He also was asked to cuddle. That's not even mentioned in this, because I don't think it was right, given the circumstances, that she had said to the world that she was in fear for her life from me, and I'd been this horrible monster. He continued, I didn't understand why she would want to touch me. Depp cried at the meeting, Mr. Shearborn said. I think that is a powerful statement, and it talks about the emotional blackmail. It talks about the lies. It talks about everything that person is and they aren't. So we get to the idea of credibility. There are so many incidents that hammer away from it. Mr. Shearborn, for example, he says he's going to be quick on one subject, but he brings everyone back to the Coachella Festival in 2016. He notes there was a trip A.H. made with her friends following her 30th birthday party, after which she claims that Depp was volatile toward her. A.H. was steadfast that she didn't vomit after the Coachella Festival, Mr. Shearborn says. However, her nurse and friend referred to her as doing so, and a driver also confirmed that he saw her doing this and identified her in this picture below. This was another lie that A.H. was prepared to tell under oath, Mr. Shearborn tells the court. Another thing that the team tore down today was this idea that Johnny Depp had an alter ego that he called the Monster. See, in this, they produced an email sent to Elton John, which was spoken about on the first day of the trial. Now, in this letter, you can clearly tell what he's talking about. And he's not talking about an alter ego. He's talking about something that was consuming him. And that thing, it was substance abuse. In the email, Depp told Sir Elton that it was a simple fact that he would have been swallowed up by the monster were it not for you. My dearest Elton, 100 blank days of clarity for an old reprobate blank like me. No one would have ever believed it possible, but for a select few, most importantly, you. He also refers in this to his brain and liver resembling Miss Thatcher, referring to the former prime minister, and spoke of the eternal savagery against myself. In this, he says he would have been consumed by this poison, and the monster here it is death. Now, his team, they further this point, and I think they do an excellent job because they note that the monster is being used to quote-unquote bridge the gap because there is a lack of evidence in this case. Then you have messages. They're read. They were sent by AH, pleading for Depp to speak to her until the actor replies to tell her that they will speak the next day. Mr. Depp says that he is helping a friend and that he shouldn't have been a big deal and that your mood swings and temper, they're going to F us over. He also says you got to curtail whatever it is that makes a mountain out of a molehill. I can't live that way. Now, his team asks this, and this is a solid question here. Is that the type of a language of an abuser? Is that someone who is doing that? Or is it the language of the abused? You can understand why Depp wanted to run away, but when he did, he was criticized for doing that too. Now, many other things were brought up too. We'll talk about those in other videos and live streams, but I want to end on this topic. Her allegations doing a disservice to genuine victims of DV and to a certain hashtag movement out there as well. See, that's the thing. Even if you don't care about this stuff, even if this doesn't matter because you see Hollywood elitists in it, it should matter to you on a personal level. Why? Because people have been launching allegations. They've been treating that as if it substantiates something, and this has been destroying lives. That it can't be allowed. In this case, it challenges this. This cost Johnny Depp $1.26 million to fight as well, and that, I think it's important. So you and I will continue to discuss this while we wait on the judge to make a decision. It could take a month plus. And then in January 2021, we're going to get down to the real show. AH versus Johnny Depp. So to close, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for helping us out because you make this stuff possible. Without you, none of it works. So thank you. I definitely appreciate you. See, this is an important subject to me because due process matters. We see it denied. We see allegations like this popping up all of the time. And it does a disservice to everyone out there. So thank you for allowing this. Thank you for, again, supporting it. And until next time, we'll see you soon. And again, thank you.